Unravel me with a melody. You surround me with a song of deliverance from my enemies, till all my fears are gone. Sing that again. You unravel me with a melody. You surround me with a song of deliverance from my enemies, till all my fears are gone. I'm no longer a slave to fear, and I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear, 'cause I am a child of God. From my mother's womb, you have chosen me. Love has called my name. I've been born again into your family. Your blood flows through my veins. I'm no longer a slave to fear, 'cause I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear, 'cause I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear, 'cause I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear, 'cause I am a child of God. And I am surrounded by the arms of the Father. I am surrounded by songs of deliverance. We've been liberated from our bondage. We're the sons and the daughters, and let us sing our freedom. Oh, child of God. You split Yes, I am a child of God. Yes, I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear, 'cause I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear, 'cause I am a child of God. Yes, I am a child of God. Oh, I am a child of God. For the moment where I still in your presence, all the noise dies down. Lord, speak to me now. You would hold my attention. I will linger and listen. I can't miss a thing. Lord, I know my heart wants more of you. My heart wants something new, so I surrender all. All I want is to live within your love, be undone by who you are. My desire is to know you deeper, Lord. I will open up again, throw my fears into the wind. I am desperate for a touch of heaven. Oh, 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 oh. You're the fire in the morning, you're the cool in the evening, the breath in my soul, you're the life in my bones. And there is no hesitation in your love and affection. It's the sweetest of all. Lord, I know my heart wants more of you. My heart wants something new, so I surrender all. All I want is to live within your love, be undone by who you are. My desire is to know you deeper, Lord. I will open up again, throw my fears into the wind. I am desperate for a touch of heaven. I'll open up my heart to you. I'll open up my heart to you now. So do what only you can. Jesus, have your way in me now. I'll open up my heart to you. I'll open up my heart to you now. To do what only you can. Jesus, have your way 'Cause all I want is to live within your love, be undone by who you are. My desire is to know you deeper, Lord. I will open up again, throw my fears into the wind. I am desperate for a touch of heaven. Na 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 na. All I want is to live within your love, be undone by who you are. My desire is to know you deeper, Lord. I will open up again, throw my fears into the wind. I am desperate for a touch of heaven. We're desperate for you tonight, Jesus. We're desperate for you tonight, Jesus. And we open ourselves up, we open our hearts to you. Come and do what only you can do. Come and do what only you can do in our hearts, Jesus. We thank you for who you are. We thank you for what you're doing, for how good you are. You're so good, you're so good, and you're so faithful to us, Jesus. Thank you for all of these things. In Jesus' name, amen. You guys can have a seat.
Who feels blessed to have Jeff with us? Come on, who feels blessed? Come on. I kind of love you here, Jeff.
Yes, we do.
I'm jumping right into it. We're in a sermon series called I Choose. There's a lot of decisions that we have to choose. Last week, what did we talk about? Yes, sir.
Where's your purpose?
He says we choose purpose over popularity. And if you remember that sermon, today we're going to be talking about choosing surrender over control. And it's going to be a deep message if you receive it with a full heart and your full mind. And it's crazy how God starts working also, because Teresa and I just kind of went through this past weekend. And I want to paint this picture with you. Of course, we're dropping off our son Caleb to college. And, we load him up, and of course, we're going to go with him. We're going to help carry the boxes, and we're there, and we're in the dorm room. His other roommate was already there, already had his side done. So we get there, and we start unboxing for him. I don't even think he's in the room yet, but we start boxing it. We start putting the microwave here. We start doing this, putting his clothes up. And then Caleb just kind of sits there on the bed. Now, we're just unboxing, doing this. No, you need the TV this way. Why don't you do this? And Caleb goes, no, I want it here. It's like, Caleb, it makes better sense here. He's like, okay, he's a passive boy. And we start trying to control the situation on, you need to do it this way, you need that. And then he just kind of sat there. And then we're like, okay, you're going to need food. We're like, I'll get food later. We're like, no, you need food. So we took them to Target. And then even at Target, it even turned into, Caleb, you need bowls, you need spoons. No, I'm going to use this. I was like, no, you need plastic ones, and you need the forks if you got the ramen. And it got to a point where Caleb said, no. And I was like, he's like, no. And he just started pushing the cart. You have to understand that when we talk about control, each of us are trying to control something in our life. And I love that song too. It's like, I'm not I'm not a slave to fear. Because you understand that what that song actually means is exactly what I witnessed this past weekend, because I was fearful of leaving my son. Guess what I did? I was a slave to fear, and every choice that I made was based on fear. Fear that he wouldn't have a bowl fear that he's not going to eat, fear that he's not going to be able to, the TV's not going to work. I was trying to get the internet connected for him because I had the fear that he wasn't going to have internet. And I became the outpouring of fear, because everything that was driving me was fear. And that's what we're going to talk about today. How can you what are we trying to control, and do you realize what are you trying to control? So today, I choose surrender over control. Everyone say that. I choose surrender over control. There's many of us that have this certain control over certain things. If you ask my wife, if you go to her classroom, you better not tell her where to put things. Because she knows exactly where things go, period. I've been helping her set up her classroom, and I was like, why don't you do it? No, this. I was like, yes, ma'am. And I'll just do it. Okay? I don't understand. I don't even understand it. But then with me, if you go to my garage, the tools better be in the same spot, because there's nothing more frustrating than with me if I need a tool and it's not where it needs to be. Or if I got to get over all this stuff in order to get to what I need. And we all try to control something in our life. The one verse that we're going to talk about today is Proverbs 3, 5, 6. It says, trust in the Lord with all your heart. How much of your heart?
All.
How much of your heart?
All.
All of your heart. And do not lean, not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to God. In what ways?
All.
In all ways. You see, with me here, I submit to God in worship, and I do this, and there's some tough things that I think I'm doing, but when it came to my son, I was like, wait a minute. I still try to control it in some way, somehow. And this says that submit to all of your ways, submit to God, and He will make your path straight. And this is something I want you to understand, kiddos, is the more we try to control something, the more we try to control someone or a situation, the more we're afraid of losing control. I'll say a little bit slower. The more we try to control, the more we're afraid of losing control. The more that I try to control Caleb's situation and try to do this and make sure he has everything, I try to control it. I'm like, Caleb, call us. You haven't called us in 2 hours. What's going on? The more I try to control it, the more afraid we're afraid of losing control. The more we're afraid, the more we try to control is just a cycle of fear, whatever it may be. I want to explain I want to go back to the Bible on one control that went bad. You see, there was Abram and Sarai. It was later Abram and Sarah. But God had promised them something. At their old age, He promised them a child. But after day after day, after month after month, and after so much time had passed, their timing did not line up with God's timing. So guess what they tried to do? She said, go and sleep with this person. Why? Because we're going to try to control it ourselves, because it was promised to us and we want it. They're trying to control the situation. It says, now Sarai, Abram's wife, had borne him no children, but she had an Egyptian slave named Hagar. So she said to Adam, the Lord has kept me from having children. Go sleep with my slave. Perhaps I can build a family through her. So who's trying to take control here? It says I. Nowhere in here does it say God. She was trying to take control. Abram agreed to what Sarai said. So after Abram had been living in Canaan 10 years, Sarai, his wife, took her Egyptian slave Hagar and gave her to her husband to be his wife. He slept with Hagar and she conceived. She was pregnant. She got pregnant with this, and they took things into their own hands. And I'm not going to get into detail, but there's 2 kids that we still feel some of the consequences from that today. But what I want to point out here that's going to relate to every single one of your kids is that relationship-wise, and I think this is big for each of you. There's one time that Miss Judy was in the high school kids. I still remember. I think it was Brenda Rudd, if I'm not mistaken. She goes, "I don't have a date for prom." And you remember what she said? She don't, but it was good, so I still remember it. She was like, I hope I can do your impression correctly. Oh, whenever you my age, it's not going to matter who you go with. And it's absolutely 100% true. Children, I'm telling you now, it's like The same situation here. I promise you, if you keep being obedient to God, God's going to send the right person along your path. You won't have to search for the right person. You will not. You keep being obedient to God and He'll make your path straight. God already has that person lined up for you. But there's times when we try to take control and then we say, oh, I know I shouldn't date a non-Christian, but I think I can change him. If I bring this person to church, I think I can change him. That's not what the Bible says. It has to be equally yoked, meaning a Christian should date a Christian. But we try to take things under our own control. You can't change them. For the older adults in here, there's a lot of times that we think we want better finances, but yet we don't want to surrender that. I'm going to control this. I can see my account balance and there ain't no more room for church or what it may be. And we try to control it. The same thing with work. There's even with work, in certain times we try to position ourselves or we try to do something to take control of the situation. And then lastly, too, even the spouses. Even with some of these spouses, guess what? Every counseling, and I've said this many times, every counseling system I've been through, they always say, work on you. You will not be able to change your boyfriend. You will not be able to change your spouse. Period. But yet we always try to control that. We always try to take that. You have to start naming what you're trying to control. You know, I want everybody to think about that question right now is, what are you trying to control? And if you're saying, oh, I'm not trying to control nothing, you're trying to control the situation right now. There's something you're trying to control. Whatever it may be. It may be a relationship. It may be your spiritual life. It may be a friendship. It's something within your life that you're trying to control. You choose to surrender. You have to trust God rather than to try to control the situation yourself. I want to give you 3 questions that you have to ask yourself whenever you have that one item in your head. While you're trying to control, ask you these 3 questions in order to help you choose surrender. Number 1, is it worth my concern? You realize there's a lot of things that we concern ourselves with and that takes a lot of our time that doesn't even matter. Yeah. It doesn't even matter. One case that I'll pick, you got to pick and choose your battles, let me put it that way. You pick and choose your battles. There's going to be, for me and Teresa, there's one thing, I'm trying to remember the situation, but we don't fight about this, but like if I was to fold the towels wrong. Some people are really picky, and actually me and Bella got in a little argument over this because I was teaching her how to fold towels. She goes, Mom doesn't fold it like this. And then we kind of started getting a little argument, and guess what? It doesn't matter what kind of way we fold the towels.
Yes, it does.
Do you understand that? And this is one of my pet peeves that I always try to control. You know, Teresa always wants to share food with me, and I love to share food with her. But I eat my hamburger in a certain way. She'll take one big bite and it has little edges on the top. I cannot stand that. I'll give it back to her and I'll say, fix it. Because it has to be in a straight line. I plan.
Straight line.
I'm preaching, you can't talk back. Okay? And there's on the sides, and I was like, no, fix it, because I plan my next bite. It's crazy. Like even with the burrito, you can't just take one bite because it's odd shaped. You have to take 2 small bites to make it straight. I'm preaching. Come on. Y'all know what I'm saying, right?
Amen.
Come on. If you're going to eat right. Control issues. Does it matter how she eats her hamburger? No. Amen. It doesn't matter how I eat it. But we get into these arguments and we try to control these situations that have no concern at all. And then there's one, you know, I'm talking about my son because I miss him greatly. You know, I'll get mad at him because of the way he'll park his truck. Like, Kevin, you've got to park your truck this way because when your mom backs out, you know, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, arr. And then you're gonna come to realize all those times I yelled at him, I miss seeing this truck in the parking lot now. I miss the truck there. I have more room to park, but I miss it. And all that time, I had no concern for what? It was just ridiculous. Quit worrying about the little things. It has no place in your life. There's no concern of it. Number 2, is it mine to control? Is the situation, the number 1, is it worth my concern? Number 2, is it mine to control? There's a lot of situations that aren't even yours to control, but I will say this. If it is, do something about it. If it is, do something about it. Surrendering control is not the same as owning your responsibility. There'll be times that you're going to surrender, but there's also times when you got to step up to the plate and own your responsibility. A quick question here: you're going to start praying, and you're going to start doing this. And if you have financial issues, guess what? Yes, you surrender to God, but guess what else you do? You get your butt off the chair and you go find a job. Own your responsibility on that. If you're flunking a class or whatever it may be, guess what? Try harder. Get up and go get a tutor. You still got to own up to your responsibility, but you got to decide, is it yours to control? And there's some things that it is for you to control, and there's other things that it's not for you to control. As my wife says, stay in your lane. And if a lot of us will learn how to stay in our lane, guess what? Our life would be a whole lot easier. Yep. But we take things upon ourselves that we don't need to. And the last one is it for God alone? Philippians 4:6-7 says, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation. Which situation? Every situation. By prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your request to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your heart and your minds in Christ Jesus. When you're trying to control what you can't, it causes you to be anxious. When I'm trying to control how Caleb does and text him every 10 minutes, how was your class? Well, did you do this? Well, I'm going to, Dad. An hour later, did you do it, Caleb? No, Dad, I haven't done it yet. And it just causes me to be anxious because I can't control that. I have to let him fly. There's even the dean of the college even sat his parents down and says, whenever your kids struggle and they call you, do not call the school. Tell your child to get with the teacher. And of course, Mama said, I'm calling if I need a call. And I said, get it, girl, but that's going to be just something it's hard to let the control go. It's hard to let him go. And there's things that we have in our lives to let go. But is it for God alone? And just like we talked about, is it your job to change your boyfriend or your girlfriend? No, you won't do it. Whose responsibility is it? God's responsibility. For the married ones, whose responsibility is it to change your spouse? No matter how many times you tell them or you tell her to change, it ain't going to happen. God will change them. Can you heal your loved one? There's a lot of people going through COVID, and there's even cancer, and there's sickness out there. There's a lot of hurt out there. And there's times that we want to do something and we want to control the situation, but we can't. Because God can heal them. We can't, but God can. Can you control your kid's future? I can't control Caleb's future. I can't. No matter how much I want to. I can't. But who can? God. Is it yours to control, or is it God alone for him to do it? Question number 1, is it worth my concern? Is it worth my time? Is it mine to control? Number 2. And number 3, is it for God alone? Is it God's situation to control? Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart How much of your heart? All of your heart. And lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to God. In which ways? All ways. And He will make your path straight.